Well, kind of a love theme going today. Karen Drucker music is perfect for the day, isn't it? We're doing a lot of those, it seems like. Valentine's Day, just a couple days toward the end of the week, I guess, something like that. Maybe you think that you might get a kick out of some of these country music songs about love. You get a certain angle on love from country music songs. It's not always an uplifting one. Here's some song titles. You may have heard some of these. I bought the boots that just walked out on me. I liked you better before I knew you so well. The last word in lonesome is me. We get to the spelling thing. Okay. Next time you throw that frying pan, my face ain't going to be there. Bridge washed out, I can't swim, and my baby's on the other side. Sad song. I've got you on my conscience, but at least you're off my back. I keep forgetting I forgot about you. I'm so miserable without you, it's like having you here. Well, this one's kind of cryptic. When you leave, walk out backwards, so I'll think you're walking in. If you don't leave me alone, I'll find someone else who will. How can I miss you if you won't go away? If love were oil, I'd be a quart low. And finally, if the phone don't ring, you'll know it's me. I love those. But boy, the kind of vision of love you get from these song titles are that it's very unreliable, it's very unpredictable, that it's very hurtful, that it's kind of fickle, damaging, all things that the opposite of what our highest truths are about love, and what all our great spiritual way-showers have taught us about love, and really our own experience of love, I think. It's kind of the opposite of that. I've always liked the old Steve Winwood song, Higher Love. With that higher love I can rise above. It kind of speaks to that aspiration of something higher than that. Something higher than that on again, off again, undependable, unreliable, elusive, never know whether you can ever find it kind of love that shows up in our country music songs and other places. There's something higher than that. And we aspire to it, and we know it. We know it's there. That's an old favorite of ours, New Thought musician Greg Tamblyn always talked about. There's something higher than these whiny victim love songs, he called them. Whiny victim love songs. We all are familiar with some of those. There's a higher love, and our spiritual way-showers have been trying to teach us about that for centuries and centuries. Here's a favorite of mine. From Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was kind of a teacher of New Thought teachers, teacher of the Film Wars, teacher of Ernest Holmes. This is from a book of hers called Scientific Christian Mental Practice. And this is how she describes this higher love. Love is stronger than death. One who has love has freedom from every ill. One who has an abundance of love, the love God fills the whole universe with, can save his friends from every ill. He is an atmosphere wherever he goes. She is an atmosphere wherever she goes. If you have an abundance of love, you've got that God love in you, flowing through you, you can save your friends from every ill. You can heal yourself. You are an atmosphere. I find that a very compelling idea, being an atmosphere. So I decided to kind of take that as my topic this morning. This is kind of love. This is not hearts and flowers. This is not fickle, on again, off again. This is something much higher. This is something that's deeply healing, that's transformative, that's redemptive. This kind of love. So what kind of love is it exactly? This love that can be an atmosphere, that can heal us from every ill. It's definitely not based on judgments or deserving. It's not about having to earn it or be worthy of it. All our spiritual teachers have emphasized that the abundance of love that God is for all of us, without exception, no matter what, no matter who we are, what we've done, where we've been. This divine love, this abundance of love that fills the universe is for us all. In Matthew 5, we read these words. You've heard it said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy, but I say, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. So you may be children of your Father in heaven, for he makes his sun rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. Love like sunshine and rain that falls on us all. No withholding, no boundaries, it's for us all. Jesus went on to say, if you love your enemies and do good for others, expecting nothing in return, your reward will be great. You will be children of the Most High, for he is kind to the ungrateful. I like that, kind to the ungrateful. We don't have to be grateful. We don't have to be anything. It's for us all. Divine love is never withheld. It's abundance. It's like the rain and the sun that falls on us all. So it's not about deserving, earning, not about being grateful. It's lavished on us like rain and sunlight. That's the higher love that saves us from every ill, that can make us a healing atmosphere wherever we go. It's definitely, throughout the Gospels, the degree to which Jesus demonstrated that, of course, was about as high as we can imagine. But he was an atmosphere, a healing atmosphere, wherever he went, that was magnetic, that drew people to him for healing. He was radiating it so powerfully, this atmosphere of love that he walked within, that went with him wherever he went. In Mark 6, it says, many were coming and going. They had no leisure even to eat. When they got in a boat and tried to cross away to get some relief from the crowds following. It says when they got out of the boat, people at once recognized him and rushed about that whole region and began to bring the sick on mats. Wherever he went, into villages or cities or farms, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak. He was an atmosphere of love that emanated like healing energy from him. That's a powerful, powerful atmosphere. But that might be the highest degree of it we can imagine, but we all have experience of this, I think, in our own lives. Do you ever go into a home and feel a certain atmosphere there? Or even a church. There's an atmosphere you can feel. Is there love in the house? Is it in the atmosphere? You can breathe it, you can hear it, you can feel it. It's quite palpable. In our families, in our companies, in our communities, wherever we work or walk or grow, there's an atmosphere of love that can be started by one person, and it can grow, that can save us from our ills, that's healing, that's powerful. I was thinking about a dear friend who's a classroom teacher for 30 years of the Westerville school system, my dear friend Jenny. And I was thinking about the atmosphere of a classroom, how different they are. One teacher's classroom as opposed to another teacher's classroom. My friend Jenny, a joyful spirit, she loved to dance, loved music, and her sixth graders, if they did good work, the agreement was if they did good classwork during the day, they'd all dance at the end of the day. 5 or 10 minutes of the electric slide. That's what the atmosphere was in Mrs. McClendon's classroom. It wasn't like that in all the other classrooms, I suspect. There's a lot of variation, and it starts with that teacher, doesn't it? Teacher creates an atmosphere, and if there's a lot of love and kindness, love of children, desire for their good, for their futures, if that's the kind of in the atmosphere, it's going to influence everything. It's going to be healing. It's going to be uplifting. I was fortunate to have a wonderful experience growing up in my mother's beauty shop, Danielle Beauty Salon. We just called it the shop. My mother owned and operated it for many years, so I sort of grew up in there. And there was an atmosphere. There's an atmosphere in a beauty shop. Would you agree? You all had experience with some of that. In a small town shop, especially way back then, that really was a real community feeling. Women came in every week for a shampoo and set, which I remember in the early days cost $3. $3 for shampoo and set. The prices went up to $3.50 when I was in high school, and all hell broke loose. But women would come in every week. They didn't do their own hair to the degree that they do now. And they'd come in for a shampoo and set every week, sit at the dryer, have coffee, and a lot of stories were told, a lot of confidences shared, a lot of troubles shared, a lot of sympathy circulated, a lot of comfort given. It was a place where that people kind of dipped into every week to be refreshed, to feel upheld a little bit, to feel supported. And it started with my mother. She was the originator of the shop, and she knew the atmosphere she wanted at her shop. It was for everybody, and everybody was accepted without judgment, and you did your best to make everybody look their best and feel their best. And at the end of their appointment, you kind of turn them around in their chair, and give them that mirror so they can look back at themselves. They go, "Don't you look nice?" That was the moment at the end of every appointment. That uplift, that's an atmosphere of love, that's nurturing, that's healing. And that helps people in their lives day by day, week by week. I was blessed to see that experience, that atmosphere, to have that. It really can be in any situation, in any community, in any context. I caught a lovely story I was really touched by on CBS Sunday morning. We take them and I look at them later sometimes. I don't know if any of you ever watched that program. But they had a lovely story about a neighborhood, a great neighborhood. And it was somewhere in Utah, Sandy, Utah. There's a woman living in the neighborhood, her name was Kathy, who had MS and was in pretty advanced stages of it and having a lot of challenges with just dealing with the rigors of daily life, getting up, getting food, getting dressed, getting through the day, getting into bed at night. She was able to, she had an aide to help out during the day, but 24/7 wasn't possible. And so particularly at night, it was a challenge to get into bed, get slippers and socks off, get herself into the bed. These things can become so challenging when you're dealing with a condition like that. So it was reaching the point where she was thinking she'd have to go into a nursing home, but didn't know how she was going to afford that. Well, her next door neighbor, a man named Keith Pugmire, she must have shared with him something about the challenges she was dealing with. And he came over one evening with a list of 60 men from the neighborhood who had agreed, said they'd wanted to come over and help her into bed at night. They started it 7 years ago. This has been going on for 7 years now. 60 men, 2 each night. They have a rotating team, and they come in every night to help her into bed, get her slippers and socks off, one on each side, lifting her into bed, getting the pillows adjusted just right. They didn't know what they were doing very well at first. Keith said it was an evolution. They kind of found their way. But now they've been doing this rotation 7 days a week, 7 years now. Just amazing. Lifting Kathy into bed. What an amazing thing. And it's been a challenge for some of them. They highlighted in this story I read, one man, John Keller, admitted in the interview that he didn't really want to do it at first. He was uncomfortable with it. But the peer pressure kind of made him kind of sign up, even though he didn't really want to. He didn't want to look bad. And then he felt really bad about himself. He was really disappointed in himself because he'd always thought of himself as kind of a good Christian person, and yet he didn't want to do it. But he went along with it. It's like he pushed his limits a little bit to do it. And what he found was that simple act of lifting Kathy into bed at night has made him a profoundly better person. He feels better about himself. He sees something new in himself. It's been empowering. It's been healing for him. Some limits have gone down. Some deeper, higher love has been nourished and grown in here. It's kind of like, my mother's customers looking in that mirror. He saw something new and more beautiful after engaging in that practice for a while. What a blessing. That atmosphere of love in that neighborhood that started with that man, Keith, and Kathy, and these good wishes, these desires to help, to be that kind of neighborhood. The interviewer said, what's been your biggest challenges with this, And he said, really, honestly, Keith said the hardest part was finding a slot for everybody that wanted to do it.
Wow.
And the interviewer said, what kind of neighborhood is this? And he said, it's a great neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. I think that's amazing. That atmosphere of love that got created by one man's kind, loving, kind idea, wanting to be of help to a neighbor, and deciding, let's spread that around, see if others would like to do that too. And the atmosphere of love that created, it really fills that whole community. I bet you can feel it when you walk in the neighborhood You can feel the community feeling, the loving kindness in the air. I think it can be anywhere, don't you? It can be in any community, in any family, in any house, in any church, in any company, in any organization. And it can start with one person and then spread. One person can be a catalyst that kind of grows and fertilizes, and then other people nourish it. And it can become quite an atmosphere of healing energy that can save us from every ill, Emma Curtis Hopkins said, that can be a redeeming thing, that can be an uplifting thing for us as individuals, like that man who became a profoundly better person from doing this community enrichment thing. For any one of us, maybe for our whole world, if we take advantage of that opportunity to be an atmosphere of love. Because it can go the other way too, can't it? We can go into homes and feel the negative energy in the air. We can feel the judgment, we can feel the criticism, the rejection, the exclusion. There's that too. And the choice is ours every day. What kind of atmosphere do I want to be? I want to be an atmosphere. I want to be an atmosphere of loving kindness. I want to be an atmosphere of peace. I want to be an atmosphere of openness to all and of hopefulness. So here's my affirmation this morning, if you'd like to join me in it. I am an atmosphere of love. How about joining me in that? I am an atmosphere of love. Let's take that into prayer for a moment and affirm that truth deep within. We affirm our intention, our sacred intention, to walk about as an atmosphere of love, emanating loving kindness, letting that love of God that is our true nature and the source of all our good, letting it flow through us in fullness and radiate from us and draw to us all the good we can imagine. We are channels for the living God and the love that it is, and we are grateful, and so it is. Amen.